Okay, I think I can start already a little bit. I hope you're not disappointed, but it's not going to be a diss track on accordions. I'll also try, or carousels or pop-ups or whatever. I also try to say a couple of positive things. I think there's plenty of presentations and blogs on the website out there that are very negative about them. I'll just keep it zakelijk, as they say in Dutch. So. Okay, it's on my watch. It's 13:50 almost, so I can start with the presentation. Yes, I got a thumbs up. Great. Welcome. Thank you for attending this presentation about accordions, carousels, and also pop-ups. And we'll have a look whether they are ingredients for a nice website or whether they are a recipe for disaster and maybe even leave a bad taste. Let's have a look. First, a small introduction about myself. My name is Boris Doesborg. I'm from Utrecht in the Netherlands, and for the people that don't know where that is, I recommend you go visit the Ghent altarpiece, this painting, this medieval painting, which prominently features Utrecht, which is also, of course, a very good thing. I'm a Drupal developer at Finalist, company that I work for. You can find me on Drupal.org as Bati Golix. And Finalist is specialized in Drupal websites for the health and education sector. Maybe you've seen my colleague present yesterday here, Fabian, about Office 365. That's one of the modules that we're building and maintaining. Because we're also, the company is also a big supporter of the Drupal community by co-organizing and sponsoring events, etc. Let's quickly move on to the presentation. First, we have a look at accordions, then carousels, and then we finish with the pop-ups. For each of these, I'll have a quick look at some advantages and disadvantages. And I'll present the most common accessibility and usability issues that we'll encounter with these web techniques. And I'll have a quick look at how they can be made more usable and accessible. And one quick note about accessibility in general, it benefits much more audiences than only the visually impaired. You could also think about people with physical disabilities, other groups, other audiences than people with physical disabilities, also the elderly, people with low literacy skills, etc. Accessibility benefits a very large audience, so that's why it matters. Let's first look at accordions. Typical example, the FAQ. An accordion that is basically, it's a list of headers that you can expand so that it reveals a panel which contains more content, as this screenshot is showing. This is a typical item from an accordion. They are great because they save space. They allow you to show the content in a progressive way. This makes the page much shorter and less daunting for a user. Especially on our mobile telephones, the accordion is very useful. And it also gives a visitor of the web page a global idea of what the whole page is about, because you can see all the headings that are, it's like a table of contents of the whole web page. It also lets the user focus on a specific task. So for example, if you're only interested in one FAQ item, then you can skip the rest easily, and that's where accordion is very good at. Also has some disadvantages because it requires much more effort to read the full page, because as a user you have to figure out how the accordion works, you have to open all the individual panels, and this has a risk that anything that's in the hidden panels may be overlooked. Things like printing are also quite complex with accordions. Common issues with accordions are that the headers are not focusable elements, so you cannot reach them with your keyboard. You can also often not open the panels with the keyboard. Often icons or styling is missing that indicates that there's any hidden content available. And also outlines on the elements is often missing in accordions. Another problem with accordions is that panels automatically collapse when you open another one. That's basically something that shouldn't be done. Let's also have a quick look at real-life accordion issues. I'll be showing you a recording of a Teams meeting that I have with my colleague, Jasper. Jasper is visually impaired and he needs the screen reader to browse the web. And we are looking at he is looking at a recipes cooking website. And I have to warn you, this is a chaotic video because there's several voices at the same time. There's the screen reader who reads his web page. And then Jasper himself, he's explaining what he's trying to do. And you hear me now and then saying something stupid. And I hope this will work.
Apparently the FAQ does not have any headers, so
£1 per portion isn't. What about
Let's
meat
see.
standards?
Oh,
Read our FAQs for more information.
read our FAQs, but it's not a header, so usually I use headers to navigate through a page. So
Yeah, that's
would it
missing,
be
yeah.
nice if this was like H1, H2?
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently with the tab key, it just skips over all the FAQs and we end up somewhere in the footer or in an advertisement.
Yes.
So I can use my arrow keys on the keyboard to navigate down the page.
What about
Right.
meat standards? How did you work out the prices?
Oh, nice.
Which supermarket did you get the prices from?
Yeah, it reads it, but it
Great.
doesn't tell me that it's
You can
something I can click. No, it doesn't tell me that. I can try.
Is microwave cooking safe?
Yeah.
Is microwave cooking safe? Let's see what happens here.
Banner, coupling, Jamie Oliver.
So, is it on? Oh, is it on? Yeah? Okay. So, yeah, he gets lost here because none of the items in the accordion is actually focusable. So he cannot open them with the keyboard. And as soon as he tries to open one of them, he ends up in a completely wrong page. Because instead of opening the panel, it sends him to a link, which is somewhere else on the page. Okay, to make the accordion usable and accessible, the header has to be a very good summary of all of the content that's hidden inside the panel. You should also ensure that you use clear icons. The most common are the plus sign or the down arrow you can use. There are also other alternatives, but those are the most commonly recognized. You also have to allow all the panels to be opened one by one, and you shouldn't close anything automatically. To navigate the accordion with the keyboard, you should allow moving through the focusable elements with the tab and the shift tab keys. And you must ensure that the elements that are in the hidden panels, that they never receive any focus. You need JavaScript to achieve that. And when the focus is on the header, you should be able to open the header with the enter or the space buttons. So for the markup, the header should use the button element, and a couple of area attributes should be used. So area attributes are being used to communicate with the screen reader what certain parts of the web page are about. So in the case of the headers, they should have the area controls attribute, which should refer to the ID of the panel, because that's the part of the website that's being controlled by this button. And if the panel is open, it should have the value of the area expanded attribute should be set to true. So the screen reader knows that the panel is open. The panels themselves, they need the area labeled by attribute, so they get a title. Each panel should have a title. It's also possible to do accordions with native HTML5 elements, details, and summary, but there are some caveats with that, especially with older browsers. But it's almost possible to do something native. That sums up everything I have to say about the accordions, so we can move on to the carousels, I think everybody's favorite. Also known as sliders. They consist of slides. Often they have a next and previous button, a pause button, and a slider picker. Those are those funny bullets. They can also be used as a pager, as you can see in this screenshot. So it comes with a couple of very big advantages, because on smaller screens the space is limited, and you want to put as much content as possible in the limited prime real estate part of the website, especially all the different departments in your organization. They want to put their information on the homepage, on the first place in the homepage, and the carousel allows to do that. It improves the chance that something is being seen by the user, and it's very good at letting users explore, compare, or preview things. For example, on e-commerce websites, you should think of gallery images for products, reviewing or comparing hotels, those kind of things. This is where the carousel actually really shines. There's also disadvantages, because it's absolutely not sure that the visitor will ever see anything besides the first slide. There's a lot of research being done, and it often shows that people almost never see the second or even the third slide at all. So you have to keep that in mind. If the carousel is auto-rotating, then it's considered very distracting and very annoying. So you have to keep that in mind as well. And there's absolutely no standards for the navigation controls at all, which is problematic for users, because every time when they encounter a carousel, they have to learn again how to use it. A couple of common issues is that the slide content is being announced to the screen reader when it's auto-rotating. When it auto-rotates and there's no pause button, then it's also problematic. Missing focus outline is problematic, and often the elements inside the slides are not focusable, and sometimes the elements inside the hidden slides are focusable, which is again a problem. I would like to show you now my colleague trying to visit this cooking website. He tries to get to the recipes of the week, but the carousel gets in between, and it makes it very confusing for him to use this website.
Oh, every time when the carousel changes slide, it reads the content of that
Energy
slide,
efficient.
right?
Exactly. So even if I want to go down the page a bit,
quick and easy recipes escape to the med with our recipes of the week. Connivo 2.
recipes of the week.
Learn to cook with Jamie.
I want to read the recipes of the week, but it doesn't let me.
Okay.
The Jamie Oliver Cookery School. Choose from more than 30 classes.
Okay, we
Find
lost
out
the
more.
focus now, so I don't know where you are on this page.
I don't know either.
Oh,
I'm
you don't know either.
completely
the focus
lost.
is on the carousel. If you now
Coupling.
yes, now you should be. Yeah, one more.
Next.
Oh,
Knob.
I've got a next.
Cookbook
Yeah,
Club
now
is
you're on the
about
carousel
flavor hits
button.
and year-round good eating with
Next
easy
button.
wins by Anna Jones.
Okay, if you find this confusing, then it's correct, because it actually is very confusing, especially for him, mainly because every time the slider changes, it starts reading out the changed content to the screen reader. But of course, also the fact that you cannot control it with the keyboard makes this slider very inaccessible, so to say. A couple of things to make sliders accessible and usable would be to put the controls, so next, previous, etc. buttons inside the slider, reduce the number of slides to a minimum, use the slide picker and use the bleeding technique, which is shown in this screenshot. And make sure you disable any auto rotation, because it's always either too slow or too fast. And also people think it's an ad, and we all have learned that we should ignore anything that looks like an ad on a website. So yes. For keyboard navigation of carousels, you should be able to, you should allow a pause button, and it should be the first element that gets the focus. The tab and the shift tab keys should be should allow to use them to move through all the elements inside the carousel, but you should exclude elements that are in hidden slides. The next previous buttons, they should actually act like a button, so you can press them with the space and enter keys, but the slider picker should be controllable with the left and right arrow keys. Then for the markup, the controls, so the next and the previous buttons, they should use the button element, and they should have the area label attribute explaining what the button is about, and it should have the area controls attribute to explain which part of the website is being controlled with this button. It should point to the ID of the wrapper that's around the slides. The carousel should have area role description explaining to the screen reader that it is a carousel, and then the slides should also have the same attribute explaining that it is one of the slides in the carousel. The slide should have the area label explaining the order of the slides. So, for example, slide 1 of 7. That finishes up the carousel, so I can continue with pop-ups, also called dialogues, because they are kind of a conversation between a user and a computer system. We make a distinction between modal dialogues and non-modal dialogues. The modal dialogues are the ones where the window that's underneath the pop-up is not available. It's blacked or grayed out. Couple of advantages for the pop-ups. They help users focus on specific tasks. And they are very good for important warnings, including cookie messages, and they help preventing any errors. So they're very good for confirmation messages, etc. You can also use them to fragment a workflow that's complex. For example, if you have a complex web form, you can chop it up in different subforms and present them in pop-ups. That's what they're good for. Of course, there's disadvantages for pop-ups. We all know since 1993 when they were introduced. Because since then, I think it's the day we started hating them. They are often used for non-essential stuff, ads. And as this Twitter user figured out, they also increase the interaction cost a lot, because they require your immediate attention, they interrupt anything you're doing, and they cause you to forget what you came to visit the webpage for. Common issues with pop-ups is that the elements that are inside the pop-up, they do not receive the focus when the pop-up is being opened. Also a problem is when the focus does not stay inside the pop-up, and when the focus order continues in the page that's underneath the pop-up. Often a close button is missing, which is also problematic. My last Teams recording video with my colleague shows him opening a pop-up, which goes quite well, but the pop-up itself does not tell him that it's open. So
you have a pop-up here that allows you to add this recipe to your favorites. That's a pop-up link.
Yeah, and we found it already. That saves a lot of time. If I press enter, or let's go back one, so you can
share, add to favorites,
add to
button.
favorites. I can't find it with the tab key, so that's nice. It's a button apparently.
Great.
I pressed enter, so it should be open, but I don't know if it's open. It doesn't grab the focus. if I use my arrow keys.
Want to make this later? Sign in to add it to your favorites.
Oh, it sounds right. Sounds like I'm in the pop-up, so at least it opens on the right place.
Link,
Okay.
sign in.
Sign.
Link, register.
You've got to register.
Close tooltip.
So actually here the pop-up opens, but it's not clear to him. But as soon as he keeps navigating with his keyboard, he reaches the text that's inside the pop-up. But when he keeps when he moves out of the pop-up, it just stays open. But it doesn't bother him, of course. But yeah, it would be clearer when it would have closed. There's another example here where he tries to open a pop-up which is not visible to him at all because it's somewhere very down below in the web page. So he's never aware of any pop-up.
Additional info, and I happen to know that is a pop-up as well.
Nutrition info.
That one?
Add to shopping
the
list.
one.
Link, nutrition info.
Let's press it. At least I can find it with my tab key.
Nice.
Did something happen?
So how about
Method
the
show
nutrition
ingredient.
info?
Link, nutrition info. Method show ingredient quantity.
No, we're at show ingredient quantity.
1 of 5, level 1.
So he's never aware of the pop-up having opened at all. This has also the advantage that he doesn't see any cookie.
Actually, the cookie pop-up is not bothering you because you're just able to use the full, the complete functionality of the website that's underneath, right?
Let's see what kind of recipe we got here. Let's see if we have a heading 1.
1 pan herby green rice and fish. Heading level 1.
We found one.
With carousel rippled yogurt and lemon.
Yeah, I can still read
one of
the entire recipe.
Link, gluten-free. Turn regular rice into something extraordinary.
Yeah, so actually he has the access to the complete recipe without accepting any cookies at all. So it's
You have a pop-up.
To make the pop-ups usable and accessible, you have to allow the pop-up to be closed with a close button. You should allow it to be closed by clicking somewhere outside of the pop-up, and the focus should be automatically set to that close button. For the keyboard navigation, when the pop-up is open, the focus should be inside of the pop-up, and when you move around with the top keys, when you reach the last element, you should go to the first element, or as an alternative, you could also close the pop-up when you have reached the last element. You should also allow the escape button to be used for closing the pop-up. The pop-up itself, the control that opens the pop-up should be a button element with an area controls attribute pointing to the ID of the pop-up. The pop-up should have the role dialog, so the screen reader knows it's a pop-up. It should have area label with the title for the pop-up, and should have the area modal attribute that explains to the screen reader that the page underneath is not available. And as I only have 25 minutes in total and only how much seconds left, 49 seconds, whatever, I need to wrap it up here, and I like to summarize a couple of things. You have to ensure to use the correct elements, especially buttons for controlling these web techniques, so to say. Always the tab and shift tab keys should always work to move through all these, through the pop-ups, carousels, etc. Anything that's hidden should be excluded from the focus order. Everything should be comfortable to tap and to click on. Outline should be clear. Contrast should be sufficient. And you have to test this with keyboard, screen reader, and also with real people. And I would like to conclude saying that you can use these accordions, carousels, pop-ups, but only in very specific cases. You have to be aware that if you use them, you introduce big usability and accessibility issues, and you have to be willing to address these, either prevent or fix them. You can be really helped by using the right JavaScript CSS library, one that offers you the functionality that you're looking for, one that's well maintained, so you're not stuck with jQuery 2 or whatever. And it should already have accessibility support built in. Then I'd like to show these credits. I used a couple of websites, and I used my colleague Wiebe for the accessibility expertise, and also Jasper, who demonstrated the screen reader in these videos. My slides contain all the resources, but I have no time to go through them, so I hope I can share them with you later. And then I would like to thank you for attending the session. Thank you very much. And we have how much seconds left for a question? Oh, 1 full minute. Okay. Is there anybody with a question or not? That's, otherwise, it's very good. And we can move on to the next speaker. Oh. Ja, dat gaat me nooit lukken, dit. Alsjeblieft.
For
Yes.
pop-ups, there's an element like dialogue elements at the moment, which is native HTML, and it has a rather large browser support.
Okay. Yeah, it's with most of these
on some projects ago, and it was okay to do just with native HTML,
yeah.
because normally a pop-up is rather hard to do.
Yeah.
And I could just fix it with native HTML with the dialogue element,
yeah.
with the tag.
Yeah, in general, if you can, you should use any native elements. But yeah, the problem is always that they're not completely 100% supported yet. Also by screen readers, not.
Yeah, that's true. Doesn't have like the full support of all the browsers, so you have to.
Yeah, you have to be careful with that.
Yeah. And also like Accordions, it's rather easy to implement. Only the sliders are the hardest, I think.
Yeah.
I always struggle with sliders. You have like recommendations for libraries which are accessible. I normally use Flickity, like as a slideshow, but it hasn't. The support is in decline. You know, like the last update of Flickity was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's less maintained than it used to be.
Okay. But I got these hints from my colleague. He uses Accessible Slick, Swiper. These links are here in the middle. Swiper and. You can also use the one that's on the World Wide Web Consortium website. It's also they also have good examples for. Gooi die doos. Yeah.
And I think for views there is a views module that you can use for sliders that has all the toots and bella built in, including
everything
stopping the auto rotate once you're not on, once you don't see it anymore.
Okay. Yeah, let's wrap it up, and then I'll make room for the next presenter.